important voice.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Commissioners board briefing. Commissioner Stegman is joining virtually. Audience members, I want to start by asking you to please silence your electronic devices. Today's meeting is a hybrid board meeting. Some presenters and guests will appear in person and some will appear virtually. For those presenting virtually, please mute your mic when not speaking, and when presenting, make sure to unmute your mic and turn on your camera. For all presenters, please state your name for the record before speaking or responding to questions. And today's briefing is on the Oregon Historical Society's Levy Oversight Committee. So welcome and good morning, everyone. It is very exciting to welcome you back to present before the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners for our annual briefing. This is really such I think a really special and important investment that we have here in Multnomah County for this. I was just at the Oregon Historical Society last week when Commissioner Myron was honored with an award for NAMI, and it's not just a special place for the public to come in and learn about our history here in Oregon, but also it's a place of convening, it's a place for community, and I really appreciate all the work that has gone into that. But we know it's not just about that building. There is so much that's happening throughout the county and the investments that are happening throughout the county. So I'm really appreciative that we have this chance to hear more about that, to learn more about that, and thank you all for being here today. And with that, I will turn it over to, I think you're going to be kicking it off. Oh, all right, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Janice Stilge, and it is my privilege to serve as one of the co-chairs of the Historical Organization Levy Oversight Committee. And I am joined today by my co-chair, Diane McKeel, who, as you know, served for 8 years as a Multnomah County Commissioner. And with us as well is Carrie Timchuk, the Boyle Family Executive Director of the Oregon Historical Society. As commissioners know, the LOC was originally created following the passage of the History Levy by Multnomah County voters in November 2010. Since then, the levy has been renewed by voters in May 2016 and May 2021, both timed by overwhelming margins. The current LOC was appointed by former Chair Kafori following the May 2021 renewal. The LOC is charged with ensuring accountability of the expenditures of levy funds by the Oregon Historical Society and by the 4 East County history organizations that receive levy proceeds: the Gresham Historical Society, the Troutdale Historical Society, the Crown Point County Historical Society, and the East County History Organization. At the inception of the levy, each East County organization received $37,500 annually, and under a memorandum of understanding, each East County organization files a twice-yearly report of levy expenditures, which is provided to the Levy Oversight Committee. It was exactly 1 year ago tomorrow when the LOC last reported to the County Commission. Since that time, the LOC has met twice, on May 4th, 2023, and most recently on August 19th, 2023, when we had the pleasure of visiting all 4 East County organizations, and we were honored to be joined on that tour by Commissioner Stegman. At this point, Co-Chair McKeel will share more about that tour and will highlight the work of the 4 East County organizations.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. So for the record, my name is Diane McKeel, Co-Chair of the Levy Oversight Committee. So one of the most satisfying aspects of serving on the LOC has been the opportunity to see how the levy funds have stabilized and energized the 4 East County organizations. As we reported last year, these funds were even more critical during the difficult years of 2020 and 2021 when the COVID pandemic prevented them from being open and to the public and hosting other revenue-raising resources. So we began our tour at the Gresham Historical Society, which is up on the screen, which is located, of course, in what was once the Gresham Carnegie Library, a National Register listed historic building. Levy funds have made it possible for the hiring of a full-time executive director, has ensured that the society was able to recover following a 2021 fire and has allowed the museum to be open at no charge to the public 5 days a week. Recent projects include catalyzing a significant backlog of archival and photographic collections that document the history of Gresham and East County. A compelling recent exhibit was Beyond Main Street, which emphasized diverse stories from the Gresham area, from the Clackamas, Chinook, Cascades, Cowlitz, and Siletz people who once lived and traveled there, to the Japanese farmers who lost their hard-earned land to their forced removal during World War II. We traveled next to the Crown Point Country Historical Society, which is dedicated to preserving and sharing the history of the Crown Point country, which includes Bridal Veil, Corbett, Larch Mountain, Springdale, and other nearby areas. From 2001 to 2010, the Society operated a museum in the former Springdale School. When the Corbett School District reclaimed that building, a group of amazing, dedicated volunteers set out to create a new home for the museum. They purchased property in Corbett that had previously served as an auto camp from the 1920s to the 1950s. As you can see from this photograph, from these photographs, I think there's more than one there. These levy funds and the community fundraising skills have allowed them to start construction on a beautiful new museum. The museum will feature pathways that will tell the story of those who have made the Crown Point area home, including, of course, the indigenous peoples who have lived there since time immemorial. Weather and supply chains allowing, they hope to open this new museum next year. I should also add that the Gray Line Waterfall Trolley Service has used Crown Point Country property for the last 2 years as a base to give tours in the gorge. Over 100 visitors a day board the trolley at the site. Visitors that will likely want to see this beautiful new museum once it's completed. Our third stop was the Troutdale Historical Society. Their mission is to preserve and make available the history of Troutdale, the northern portion of Sandy River, and nearby areas. Levy funds assist the society in maintaining 3 museums: the circa 1900 Fred Harlow Farmhouse, the Rail Depot Museum, which features a 1975 Union Pacific caboose, and the Barn Exhibit, which features King of the Roads, Byway of the People, which is a fascinating exhibit on the construction, destruction, and rebuilding of the Columbia River Highway. Our final stop on the tour was the East County Historical Society, which has the mission of preserving and stimulating an interest in the history of Fairview, Rockwood, and Wilkes areas of East Multnomah County. ECHO operates 3 venues: the historic Zimmerman House, which was built in 1874, the historic Heslin House, built in 1893, and the site of what once was the Fairview City Jail. The LOC members were tremendously impressed by the work of all 4 East County organizations. The staff and volunteers of the East County organizations also expressed their appreciation for the levy funds that have allowed them to fulfill their missions. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Co-Chair Dilge. Thank you.
I omitted one important detail in the earlier part of my report. I stated that the East County organizations received $37,500 annually, but over time, that number has actually been increased to $50,000 annually. And we will now turn to the Oregon Historical Society. I can report that OHS is in compliance with all levy language and requirements. These requirements include being open to the public for a certain number of hours a week, providing an annual financial audit, and of course, offering free admission to all Multnomah County residents. I am also pleased to report that what I said in last year's report to the commissioners, the LOC continues to be especially supportive and impressed by OHS exhibits, programs, publications, and partnerships that document the history of Multnomah County's diverse populations. Their commitment to sharing that history can also be seen in the fact that in June 2024, OHS will open a new permanent exhibit on the history of Portland. And I have asked OHS Boyle Family Executive Director Carrie Timchuk to share a preview of that exhibit with you.
Thank you, Co-Chair. For the record, I am Carrie Timchuk, the Boyle Family Executive Director of the Oregon Historical Society. And as the Co-Chair stated, we are very excited that in June 2024, we will open a new permanent exhibit on the history of the city of Portland. This has been a request we have received over the years from tourists, from Portland residents, and from Portland school teachers and students. Our museum team has been working for over a year with a diverse team of advisors and stakeholders, and I'm delighted with the final project. As you can see there, it's entitled Rivers, Roses, and Rip City, The Remarkable History of Portland. When you go to the next slide, I'll share a little bit about it. The exhibit's home will be in our NATO Family Gallery and will feature over 200 objects from our collection and another 200 plus photographic images. It will contain interactive and touchscreen elements. It is divided into 3 sections: land, water, and community. And there you can see some of the different sections there. The community, there's a section on the foodie culture of Portland. There's a section called Bottoms Up, which is about the history of beer in Portland, how it started with the creation of the city, and on bicycles as well. A little, but land, water, and culture is what it establishes. As with all our exhibits, go ahead to the next slide, it is historically accurate and deals with challenging moments. But if there is a theme, I think it is that Portland and Portlanders have always worked together as a community to meet those challenges and to make the city a better place to live, work, and raise a family. In a couple of slides here, there you can see some of the items that will be in it, the layout there. Go ahead to the next slide. Some more, it's a little casework, a list of some of the items, including the crown from Darcel, Tom Peterson alarm clock, just all part of Portland's history and Portland's culture. Go ahead, next slide. Some more, one of my favorite items too is the big bell that they used to ring when the Hawthorne Bridge opened. They would ring this huge bell to signal to everybody that was opening, and that's in the exhibit as well. Go ahead to the next slide. Get some more items. You can see a diving and there's the Hawthorne Bridge bell. There you can see in that as you can see, it is quite big. In the next slide, some of the example, some of the text that will be in the exhibit. Again, that's about the land and the Portland's parks. Go ahead. Still some work left to do. We're in pre-production and fabrication now. The team is meeting weekly with the fabricators and the designers to be able to open this. Again, the goal is to open at Rose Festival in 2024. As I said, I think this is OHS is trying to help with the Portland, sending a message that Portland has always faced challenges and always has come through. I'm also proud to highlight on your desk is the partnership between OHS and the Portland Public Schools. PPS reached out to OHS several years ago seeking our help in producing a new 3rd grade reader on Portland history and a new elementary school reader that would fulfill new state requirements on shared history involving the history of Indigenous people. We were delighted to respond to that request and to help and to offer our expertise, and copies of both books there are available there for the commissioners, and I've received rave reviews from school teachers. In fact, even the school district of Beaverton has scooped in and also using those books as well in the Beaverton School District. As Julia knows, I had a contact with the Beaverton School District. My wife was a board member for 8 years, so just recently got off the board. So with that, I'll turn it back to Co-Chair Dilge. So,
thank you, Carrie. And that completes our report, Madam Chair. We are, of course, happy to respond to any questions, but before doing so, let me again thank the members of the current LOC, Bill Bennett, Elka Grisham, Scott Forrester, Lib Pruden, Jennifer Burns, Glenn Taylor, and Debbie Menashe. The LOC will be holding our third and final meeting of 2023 next week, and we are still feeling the loss of our colleague, Dr. James Harrison, who passed away last year, and we would welcome new members should the commission choose to add to our numbers. Thank you for allowing us to present to you.
Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate this presentation. We'll go to the board for any questions or any comments. And Commissioner Stegman, we will start with you since you were able to participate in the tour.
All right. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you, Janice and Diane, the co-chairs. It was wonderful to go on the tour with you. And thank you to all of the LOC members and also for your leadership, Carrie, to lead the Historical Society in such a progressive, exciting way. So I just wanted to highlight, if you haven't been out to the Crown Point Country Historical Society, there is this amazing rock wall, and it's beautiful. And I don't know if somebody can speak to the history of that, but I would really encourage you to go out and see it, touch it, feel it. All of these different agates and rocks and different minerals. It is absolutely stunning. I'm also hoping that we can support some of the efforts out there as you continue to build a longhouse. I know I've been in conversation with some of our county employees in the chair's office to see how we might be able to support those efforts as well. And Carrie, love the Tom Peterson alarm clock. Unfortunately, I am old enough to remember Tom Peterson and the advertisements of like, wake up, wake up. So that really kind of takes me back to a different time and a different place. And the work that you all do does remind me of our important history and the fact that you're highlighting that we do pull together as a community and come together is really inspiring. And so I just want to thank you all for being here today and for volunteering and for just the incredible work that you do to ensure that we always remember our history. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brim Edwards.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I guess I just say I'm sorry I missed the tour last year, but maybe there'll be another one this next year. And I really appreciate getting the sneak peek at the upcoming Portland exhibit. I think that's going to be a great resource, but probably even more important, I'm really pleased to see the collaboration, because this is a way that people don't actually have to go to a physical building, which not everybody can, but actually bringing Portland's history into classrooms, which is super important. I know in 1970, as a third grader in Portland Public Schools, this is not at all the history we were taught. It was very much the Lovejoy, the typical coin toss, but not really showing the breadth and depth and the diversity of Portland's history. And I know even as recently as when my 3 kids were in Portland Public Schools, the year in which they focused on the city, it was the more traditional, narrower view of Portland's history. So this is, I think, a really important tradition. And I know Portland Public Schools is very proud of its collaboration with the Historical Society and the ability to bring a new perspective to history. So I just want to thank you for the work that you did with Portland Public Schools, and I'm glad to hear that even Beaverton is piggybacking on it, because we owe it to our students to share all of the beauty of our history in Portland. So thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Jayapal.
Chair, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for the work that you do year-round to steward these funds. It's always great to hear from you. Starting kind of where you started, $50,000 per year for these museums seems like a very good return on the investment. Not a lot to invest for the kind of stewardship that we're seeing. I'm sorry I missed the tour. I was scheduled to go and I can't remember what happened, but I look forward to the next one. I did love the vault, which I was able to tour back in March. That was amazing. Thank you, Carrie, for that. It was really an extraordinary experience. Love the exhibit, whoever came up with the title. I'm always a fan of some good alliteration, so Rivers, Roses, and Rip City is pretty great. And then these just look amazing. I am looking myself, I mean, I realize that they are intended for elementary school readers, but I am looking forward to going through these. They look absolutely beautiful. I echo Commissioner Brim-Edwards' comments about the importance of that collaboration between the Historical Society and our school systems.
I do think you'll enjoy them, and let me know afterwards what you think of the book. So yeah,
I will take you up on that.
Yeah,
maybe there's some more good alliteration in here.
Good,
So really appreciate this very much. Appreciate the collaboration, and again, thank you to the LOC to all the members for the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Myron.
Thank you all. I can't get the grin off my face. It's so wonderful to see all of you here today. It is always an inspiration, but it is a joy to hear about all that you've been doing. And I always look forward to this briefing because a picture speaks 1,000 words, and your words speak 1,000 words. You have great words, as my fellow commissioners have pointed out in these incredible publications. You know, I have always admired the Oregon Historical Quarterly. That is something I just am, each issue I'm blown away by how beautifully done it is, how accessible, how interesting, and it's like, okay, this seems like something you shouldn't be able to keep pulling off time after time after time, and yet you do. And I appreciate it so much, and I too will be reading these. We can compare notes. But it's interesting. I was talking to my 17-year-old who is still in Portland Public Schools right now, but taking their classes at Portland Community College. And I was driving them to their class, and we were talking about history. And they are taking a history class now, and they love it so much. And they're like, they have a great teacher, and are just drawn to the subject. And some people have that passion innately, and you exude that, you exemplify that. Some of us don't, and I didn't have it in school. I was not exposed to a teacher that I thought was a great teacher, and I came around to a love of history later. What you do is bring people in early, you bring people in at every stage of life, and I just appreciate it so much, and you do such a fantastic job. And as the chair was referring to, I was honored to receive NAMI Oregon's award last week, and the event was held at the Oregon Historical Society in Portland, and I have to say, despite the honor, being overwhelmed, having this incredible event, I kept getting distracted and like, oh, can I just step out and go look at one of those exhibits for just a second? Because it is so compelling to be in that space. So thank you for your oversight. Thank you for the entire, the group's work, and for your passion.
Thank you.
So I just will add my thanks. Thank you so much, Janice, Diane, and Carrie, and for the whole Levy Oversight Committee for all of the work that you do. We will look at, adding more folks to there. So thank you for bringing that forward, because I think that is an important thing to make sure that we have, a good representation for folks who are doing the oversight work. But I just appreciate the job that you all have done in that, and thank you for these. You know, I didn't grow up here. I think there's several of us who didn't grow up here. And so I didn't get the chance in 4th grade or 3rd grade to learn about the history of Portland. So when my kids were in school, I was very, I learned the song that they were singing, about the city of Portland. And but I think these are even more special because these are really reflective of as Commissioner Brim-Edwards was raising up, the very rich and diverse stories that have not always been told. So I will also look forward to this, to looking through them and to reading through them. And then it feels odd that in almost like the 7 years of being here that I haven't done the tour of some of those East County things. So I will make it a priority in this next calendar year to do that, because I think it would be so enjoyable, just to be there and to experience it. And I love seeing the continued investment and growth of some of these resources as we in all parts of the county. So thank you for prioritizing that as well.
Thank you. And I think several of you still haven't been out to the vault. So anytime you want to go out to the vault, let me know.
Don't pass up that chance.
I mean, just flipping through this book, I think there's a lesson to be learned. This one, that we should really be reclaiming the word Wapato, that it's not a jail that never got filled, that it,
Well, more to come on that very soon, actually. So
Yeah,
stay tuned.
that is actually a plant that is indigenous to the area. So those are the types of things I think that we can illuminate, that sometimes, like I say, words get co-opted, and if we understand the history, they mean something different.
I would also encourage you to look on the websites of the East County Historical Societies. They do some very interesting talks and programs, something you might be interested in, that you might be available to take advantage of. I was just at one on Sunday where it was called Tad Talks, and it was the history of Tad's Chicken and Dumplings, if you know that iconic restaurant out. That's unfortunately closed now, but hoping to reopen again. But and they had a wonderful talk on the history of McMinimum's Edgefield, done by Sharon Nesbitt from the Troutdale Historical Society and Mike McMinimum. They did it together, and it was it's very interesting. So you might take a look on their websites and just see there's some interesting talks and events going on from all the historical organizations in East County as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Those sound wonderful. Those sound like great opportunities.
And tonight is the kickoff of our 25th season of the Marco Hatfield Lecture Series that we do at OHS. And tonight it's Jonathan Eig, who wrote the new majestic bestseller of The Life of Martin Luther King. And he'll be kicking off the series tonight. You can tickets so you can come in person or watch in your pajamas at home via live stream. And the season has 4 more lectures in the spring, with I think the highlighter being Liz Cheney. Who has a new book coming out next month called Oath and Honor, and so I think she'll ensure a full house. So
Sure. Well, thank you so for that. We'll keep our eye on that, and thank you all again for all of the work that you do. Really appreciate that. We have a short agenda today, so that concludes today's briefing. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 19th at 9:30 a.m. There being no further business, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.